Hi there guys, and welcome to the latest episode of the Cryptoverse, your regular dose of news and commentary on Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, and blockchains. I am your host, Chris Coney. Now today we have a legal case. Courtesy of Bitcoin.com and a Jamie Redmond article. This article says that a New York judge has classified Bitcoin as money. And these are interesting because one of the things holding back the mainstream adoption of Bitcoin is, well, some people are scared to touch it because they don't quite know how it is represented in law. So any developments on this front are important. So let's see what we've got. On the 19th of September, US federal judge Alison Nathan in Manhattan declared Bitcoin is money. The judgment follows the recent Florida ruling in which the judge decided the opposite, that Bitcoin is not money. So in Manhattan, Bitcoin is money. In Florida, Bitcoin is not money. Okay. So the decision in both states shows that US officials don't see eye to eye on classifying cryptocurrencies. Yes, of course. The criminal case against a fellow called Anthony Mergio has confused the cryptocurrency community once again. Mergio was accused of operating an illegal Bitcoin exchange that laundered money for hackers, possibly linked to attacks on corporate entities such as JP Morgan Chase & Co. And Mergio used the same defense as Michel Espinoza, saying Bitcoin does not qualify as a currency. Of course, because if Bitcoin is not a currency, you can't be pinched for money laundering, right? Because if it's not money, you can't launder it. It's a real sensitive subject though, because if you declare Bitcoin as money, it inherits all of the benefits of being classed as money, like recognition by the masses. If we, the Bitcoin community and the crypto community, can go out to the world and say, look, Bitcoin is now officially money, according to a US authority, i.e. a federal judge has said Bitcoin is money, right? So the powers that be that don't want Bitcoin to be adopted, they're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place there, because if they leave Bitcoin not classified as money, then it doesn't have the benefit of being recognized as money by the masses, and that'll slow down adoption. But if they do declare it as money, then people will recognize it as money in the masses and might take it more seriously. So if they leave it unclassified, then these illegal operations can use Bitcoin safely because, hey, you said it wasn't money, so we can use it to launder money, if you know what I mean. Anyway, moving on with the article. Prosecutors said that Mergio's Coin.mx exchange was an unlicensed operation which transmitted currency unlawfully. The US District Judge Alison Nathan rejected Mergio's bid to dismiss the charges. And Judge Nathan wrote, quote, "Bitcoins are funds within the plain meaning of that term. Bitcoins can be accepted as a payment for goods and services or bought directly from an exchange with a bank account. They therefore function as a pecuniary resource and are used as a medium of exchange and a means of payment." Close quote. Well, that's a fairly simple definition, wouldn't you say? Anthony Mergio still has 6 more unrelated criminal counts against him, which this ruling did not address. His attorney, Brian Klein, disagreed with the decision, saying, quote, "Anthony Mergio maintains his innocence and looks forward to clearing his name at the upcoming trial." Close quote. The accused allegedly made millions of dollars by manipulating stocks, money laundering, and fraudulent online casinos. Prosecutors say there is more to the case than simply money transmission. Jerry Sheldon, co-owner at CoinMX, he pleaded not guilty as well and awaits trial in Manhattan's correctional facility. It says the US officials have a hard time classifying Bitcoin. The ruling is quite different to the Miami-Dade court decision in which the court ruled Bitcoin wasn't a currency. That decision was controversial, and in the state of Florida is currently appealing the decision. US officials are having a difficult time trying to define Bitcoin state to state and with federal entities. For instance, the US Commodity Futures and Trading Commission calls Bitcoin a commodity. The IRS, which is the Internal Revenue Service, defines cryptocurrency as an asset. The US-based cryptocurrency community wonders what will be the final outcome, when it comes to Bitcoin's classification. So far, it's pretty confusing to say the least. Well, that's a problem. I mean, the confusion is actually the worst outcome of all. So if we classify it as money or not, I mean, they both have pros and cons for the cryptocurrency community and the legacy financial system. The worst of the two, if you like, is the third alternative, which is to confuse the classification. The reason that's the worst is because then that sort of reserves the right to the powers that be to, well, they can just choose what to pinch you for. If you use cryptocurrency and there's all these overlapping laws, they can just pick the one that applies and say, that's the one you broke. Now, it's not as clear-cut as that because not all of these laws are overlapping at a federal level. These are state-by-state laws. However, if you were a judge, you could take influence, I imagine, from if I was a judge in Manhattan, I could look at how other states had judged Bitcoin and then take an influence from those cases. Sort of my legal colleagues in the United States, and I could see how they classified the law. It is rather complicated because you've got federal laws, you've got state laws, and they all kind of intertwine. But then what happens, like, for example, if you've got someone like Coinbase, who are based in San Francisco, I believe. So they're based in the United States, and they're a company. So they are operating under San Francisco law and US federal law, right, as a company. So they will be handling Bitcoin classified under US law. And then what happens if they do business with someone in Indonesia? So that individual is being governed by Indonesian law. So how does that work? Because now Coinbase are operating with a foreigner. So does the US law apply to that person? What's the implication of a US corporation dealing with someone in Indonesia? And what if in Indonesia, Bitcoin is classified in a different way legally to the United States and vice versa? I mean, how does that work? You know what I mean? Like if I in the United Kingdom want to trade internationally, it's more complicated if I have customers outside of the country than if I have them inside of the country. It's actually more simple if you're inside the country, because then the buyer, the seller, people on both ends of the transaction are under exactly the same legal framework as each other. But when it comes to selling to the United States or whatever, it has to be accounted for differently and so on. So this is why these articles about the law are important. Now, bear in mind that whole article I just read is specific to the US law. So if you're not inside the USA, it doesn't directly impact you. However, a lot of the Bitcoin infrastructure, like Coinbase and the like, are based in the United States. So that's kind of important. Now, you could say that someone else in another country could pop up and replace any US company that was providing Bitcoin services, but Coinbase in particular is a good example. They've done a lot for the Bitcoin community in terms of helping people get wallets, and it's super easy to use, and people can acquire Bitcoin very easily using it and so on. So if they disappeared, it would leave a big hole, is all I'm saying. We're not at the point yet, I don't think, where if Coinbase left the cryptocurrency space, if it failed, I think it would be felt, put it that way. It's one of the big elephants in the community. So once we've got, lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of, truly decentralized economy like that, it won't be so much of a trouble and we won't have to worry about it. But until then, changes in the law and the laws that are governing these companies do matter. That is, of course, until the new generation of cryptocurrencies like Monero and the like, who are completely anonymous and private, and the MadeSafe network, for example. Well, no one has a clue what is going on inside the MadeSafe network. No one has a clue about what's happening on the Monero network because it's all private. So how are you gonna impose laws on that? Right? It's a law unto itself. It's interesting, isn't it, that the legal system is trying to impose its will on something it didn't create. You know what I'm saying? That to me is a fascinating philosophical point that I'm going to have to ponder. So the people, or a person, say Satoshi Nakamoto, creates Bitcoin. The people, i.e. the developers and the bright sparks in the world, start all of these other monetary experiments that you see on CoinMarketCap, like Dash, like Monero, like Litecoin, like Ethereum, right? And then this external authority, do they have authority? Who gave them that authority? I sure as hell didn't. I was kind of born into it. I never chose that, right? So I can't choose to leave it either. Well, now you can. So anyway, there's all these cryptocurrencies, and then this external body, self-proclaimed authority, decides that they are going to rule over it. Well, good luck with that. Because the beautiful thing about cryptocurrency is we do not need permission to use it, because you don't have to identify yourself to open a Bitcoin wallet. So permission is not required. Therefore, the law is kind of above the law in that way. What it does mean, though, is that every individual then has to take responsibility for themselves, right? Securing their own keys, doing due diligence on the companies they deal with, because if you get scammed, it's your responsibility. So, all right, that's going to do it for today's edition of the Cryptoverse with me, Chris Coney. Thanks for listening today. Please go to cryptoversity.com and subscribe to the Cryptoverse. You can subscribe to the audio version of the Cryptoverse on iTunes or on Stitcher, on Google Play, or if you want to subscribe to the video version, you can do so on YouTube. And please, I would really appreciate it if you would support the Cryptoverse. You can do that by sending us a Bitcoin tip directly to the address on the podcast page, by upvoting this episode on the Steam network, or by checking out the Cryptoversity merchandise store, where you can buy yourself a t-shirt with the Cryptoversity branding on it, or an iPhone case, or any one of the new products that's coming soon. That stuff helps us out a lot. And finally, if you'd like to learn more structured information on cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin and blockchains, head over to the courses section and buy yourself an online course. Well, that's all for today. So until tomorrow and the next episode of the Cryptoverse, it's me, Chris Coney, saying bye for now.